Hello everyone, and welcome to this RC set discussion, session number 2, brought to you by Team Red Zone. So today we'll be discussing sets which were published on 26th of May and 24th of May. So I hope you have gone through them and attempted them so that we can save upon some time and you don't have to spend time reading here. So if you have not read it, just let me know on chat and I'll give you some time to read the sets. Okay, so guys, yeah, let's begin. So first and foremost, welcome to Prep Zone. This has been our result, our Hall of Fame for CAT 2020, and hoping to do even better in CAT 2021. So if you guys want to join, just you can ping on this number given below, and we are coming up with our CAT 2021 full course, which is available for 17,000. So any of you who wants to join, you can just message WhatsApp or call on this number, and we'll give you the details. Yeah, so let's begin. This is the first RC. This was published on 26th May, and you can go through it. I'll give you some time to go through it. So guys, one thing I would like to say that when you are reading any RC, you should read it with your eyes or with the help of a pen, pencil, whatever you have. Try not to speak, even if silently. Try not to use your mouth or lips to read the passage because that actually slows you down. Your eyes will scan the text much faster than speaking. So try to inculcate that habit. Like some of you pinged me that you have not read it, I'll advise that you should attempt the RCs before joining the discussion. So in that ways, this can be a revision and we can save up on some time and probably discuss one more RC if time permits. So just let me know when you're done reading it. We'll move on to the questions. Okay, so someone has messaged that the last line it says, which has the greater authority? Uh, which, it should not be which, it should be who is what you are suggesting. But this word which is used for the versions, different versions of Auden's work, which is why it refers to as which, that both of these works are Auden and which has greater authority. Okay, so let's move forward to the first question. You can message me your answers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Many of you are getting it correct. So the correct answer is option A. Let's solve this question. So it says, which of the following can be inferred about the text of Jane Eyre from the passage? Okay, where I would like to go to the passage once and understand where Jane Eyre is mentioned. Okay, okay. So here is Jane Eyre, and he's talking about how Charlotte Bronte had submitted her manuscript to the publisher without any punctuations, and the publisher added punctuation from his side, and Bronte later thanked him for correcting her punctuation. Okay. So option A says following the punctuation of the manuscript would make the book more difficult to read. Okay, this is a probable option. We can read the rest of the options and see if this is better or we find a better option later on. The punctuation of the first edition misrepresents the intention of the author. This is nowhere mentioned. It just says that Bronte had submitted her manuscript without punctuations. Bronte made a Bronte made a mistake by allowing her publisher to correct punctuation. Again, this is wrong because Bronte actually thanked the publisher for correcting her punctuation. Bronte requested that the publisher make corrections to her punctuation. This is nowhere mentioned. Rather, if we go back, it said that if we read a little above, that punctuation and correction of these punctuation was a feature of the publishing house, and authors would sometimes submit the manuscript without punctuation and they would expect that the house would correct it. So option D is also incorrect. She had not requested it. She had just assumed that the publisher will do it, and the publisher actually did it. Option E is somewhat confusing because it says Bronte was not very good with punctuation. So here it can be assumed that since she was not good and she thanked the publisher for correcting her punctuation, that she was not very good with punctuation. But it is nowhere mentioned, so we cannot infer this part. It could be possible that she was just lazy and she did not punctuate her manuscript and she submitted it to the editor with the expectation that the editor will correct it. So E, between A and E, A is the more probable answer. So that is why we will go with A. Any doubts? Okay. Okay. So you guys are messaging me. So yeah, the confusion was between E and A, and I've explained that it does not mention anywhere that Bronte was not good with punctuation, so it cannot be inferred. She could have been good, she could not have been good, we do not know. Rather, A is more relevant because without punctuation it is difficult to read any text, which is why the editors used to punctuate the manuscript from their end. Okay? Yeah. Alright, so let's move on to question number 2. Again, you can put your answers in the chat. Okay, okay. Yeah, many of you have started giving your answers. So, yeah. Okay, I've started getting the answers. The correct answer is option number D. Most of you have attempted it. So let us go through the question. Based on information in the passage, which of the following new discoveries would potentially be a legitimate basis for a new edition of a literary work? Okay, let us read it again. Which of the following new discoveries, so I'm assuming here new discoveries will be given, which of these would potentially be a legitimate basis for a new edition? Okay, so first is an author's original manuscript. Okay, will that be a new edition? Of course, when an author submits a manuscript, he will obviously want it, the publisher would want it to come out as a new edition of a literary work. So clearly option B has been eliminated. We are left with option A, C, D, and E. Now, option number 2, a first edition incorporating the publisher's revision. Now, this won't be a new edition because the author submits, the publisher reviews it, edits it, and sends it back to the author. And there's a lot of back and forth that happens. And finally, when it's published, that is a new edition. So, option 2 is not the correct answer. So, I can now eliminate option C and option E. So now I'm left with A and D. So coming to the third one, it says a second edition thoroughly amended by the author. Now, the first few words only itself say that it's a second edition, so which means that it's a new edition or a new variation. So option 3 is also correct. So we have 1 and 3, which is given in option D. Does anyone have any doubts?
Sir, could you please repeat the first 2 points? I kind of got disconnected.
Okay. So the question says, which of these will be a new edition for a literary work? So the first option says an author's original manuscript. So clearly, when an author submits a new manuscript, that is a new edition. So 1 is the correct option. 1 is correct. Now, option 2, the point 2, discovery number 2, says a first edition incorporating the publisher's revision. Now, the first edition will have a lot of back and forth between the author and the publisher, where the publisher will edit, punctuate it, or provide his suggestions, and the author will rework, and that's how the edition will finally get printed. The first edition is a new edition? No, because the first edition is being edited over here. That is why it's not a new edition. And option number 3 says a second edition, which is different from the first, thoroughly amended by the author. So the author might have had conflicting thoughts. He might have had some new epiphanies or something. So he came out with a new edition or new variation of his first edition. So that is, of course, a new edition for a literary work. So 1 and 3 are correct. That is in option D.
Sir, we are eliminating second option just because of a first word first is here given. That's all?
Yeah, because that first edition. Yeah. You can say that. It also talks about incorporating the publisher's revision. So it's not a new edition. The same edition is being edited. So that's it's not a new legitimate basis for a new edition of a literary work. It's the same edition which is being carried forward.
Okay.
It's like you submitted an article to me. I suggested some changes to you. So the new article, when you submitted it for the first time, that's your original manuscript. That is a new edition. But when you submitted it to me, I gave it back to you. You edited it again and then submitted it. So the thesis did not change. The underlying principles did not change, or I just corrected the punctuation. The back and forth is happening between you and me. We have not yet published it. So it's not a new edition of your original thing. Second edition is something which is an improvement or a variation of the first edition. So the first edition got printed, but then you went through it. Some years later, you decided you wanted to change it, or you had discussions over it with some people, and then you decided to change it. So that becomes a new edition.
So, Ayush, this right. As per the RC, we have read that author submits a manuscript to the publisher, the editor edits it, and then it goes for the final print.
Yeah.
But here, you are saying that one is a new edition. How can it be an edition itself? It's just a rough manuscript, which has not yet been an edition till now. It will
So,
become an edition only after it will get printed.
but that is a basis of a new edition, right? When you're
So
submitting
that
something,
is basis for all the editions. Why a new edition?
okay, so let me say it this way. You started writing a book and you wrote a 200-page book, all right? And you submitted it to me. I'm your publisher. So that becomes the basis for a new book. Let us say you're writing Harry Potter. So that's a new book. You submitted to me. With me so far? So
Yes,
that
sir.
becomes the basis for a new edition. Like we are preparing a new edition of a literary work, which is Harry Potter.
Yes.
But I found some
Yes.
issues in it. There were some spelling mistakes, or there were some punctuation issues, or some clarifications which were needed. So I asked you to correct that. You corrected it and
Yes.
submitted it to me again. Now it's still the first edition which we are working upon, which is yet to be printed, but it will be the first edition.
Hmm.
But does that form a basis for a new edition? No, it's the same, which is the original manuscript, which is being worked upon. So that is why the second one is not correct. And the third one is like your book got printed. It became the first edition. The original manuscript, after some back and forth, it got printed. Now you went on some Reddit forums or Facebook where people gave you some alternate theories or alternate viewpoints, and you agreed with them. So you came out with a new ending, probably, perhaps. So that becomes a second edition of the original book.
Hmm.
So that is the
Yes.
option three. The third one, new discovery, has a
Mhm.
basis for a new edition of a literary work.
Yes.
Okay?
Sir, Pawan here.
Yeah.
Just adding to it, had it been an edition incorporating the publishers, it's not mentioned that first or second. Had it been like an edition incorporating the publishers' revisions, like they might have printed a book and then the publishers again revised it and shared. Because this, I'm bringing this point because there is the focus of legitimate basis, right? So on that point, why I eliminated two. Why I eliminated two was because as per what the context on the context of the passage, I felt that the publisher's revisions being incorporated in an edition is not
Yes, you're
legit.
right. You have answered your question, Pawan. A publisher is editing your original thing. So that's not a new edition. It's like you're editing your original manuscript. So if you look at it in flow, here also, an author submits something, a publisher will check it like a teacher, he will revise it, he will go back and forth with the author, they will have some deliberation. The publisher will say that, okay, this might work, this might not work, and all that. But still, they're working on the original thing only. So the original one is a basis for a new edition, but the suggests are just suggestions. They're not the basis for a new edition. New edition is something which is different, or either it's the first one or if it's a variation of the first one. Publisher suggestions are suggests.
Okay.
Okay, someone has.
My point was just that on the basis of the point that it's being incorporated because of the publisher's revisions, that we cannot eliminate this option.
No. Publisher, see, the publisher, he's giving his ideas, right? The author first may or may not incorporate them. The author might be adamant, but usually what happens is the author has to agree to the publisher. So that's what we mentioned. But it's again, it's like his viewpoint, which is being incorporated, but the book has not been printed. The book is yet to go to print. It's not that the publisher suggested after it, the book got printed. Right. So publisher, he's the publisher. Whatever he suggests, he will do that before publishing something. Nandini here asked me that we can also call it the corrected version. No. The publisher, whatever he is suggesting, it will always be done before publishing. If it is a corrected version, that means the author went back to the original published book, made the changes and came out with a new edition. So that can be called a corrected version or a new edition.
Means that is before public
Yes, you can say
publishing.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, publishing is the checkpoint.
Yeah.
Okay. Now coming to question number 3. So you can start sending in your answers if you get to it. So Mahek has answered it correctly. Okay, Abhinav, Vishal, I don't know, Sal had answered. Yes, Ranji had answered. Would anyone want to attempt it? All right, the correct answer is A. So anyone wants to go at it? Okay, so let me read out the question. Based on the information given in the passage, which of the following situations would the author probably consider the most difficult decision for an editor? Okay, when he says the author, he means the author of this RC. And what, according to the author, is the most difficult decision for an editor? Okay, so I'll go back to the passage, understand what could be the most difficult. So the keyword I would look for is most or difficult or decision or variations of these. So pressure, okay, but it does have been applied to authors by the editor. So this is not okay, difficulty. So okay, this politically correct movement seeks to eliminate unintended, but with obviously difficulties. Okay, this is not
the thorniest situation of all.
Yes, absolutely correct. It says the thorniest situation of all. So if you had read the passage, you would have probably had those keywords in your mind. And this keyword says the thorniest situation of all. Perhaps involves authorial revisions made long after publication. So this line is in itself sufficient, but still it is being substantiated with an example that W.H. Auden in subsequent editions of his work altered his own earlier poems. Okay, so which of these examples is closest to Auden's example? So it's A, where Pope rewrote the Dunciad, directing the satire against a completely different person. So the Pope is editing his own work and he's publishing new version, and in which it's a completely different person he's directing his satire against. So it's a new thing. Now that example is closest to Auden's example. Let us go through the other 4 examples and understand why they are not correct. So Dickens changed the ending of Great Expectations at a friend's suggestion before its publication. So before the publication, anything it's done, the editor doesn't care. Whitman printed Leaves of Grass himself and continued to produce new expanded. Here he's producing it himself. So the editor, he himself is the editor and he has no qualms changing it. So it is not the most difficult decision. James Joyce's poor eyesight made it difficult for him to proofread his manuscripts. The publisher doesn't care. Shakespeare's works that had been edited by Thomas Bowdler to make it more acceptable to families. Here, the work has been edited by a different author. That's now the author's interpretation or of Shakespeare's work. So it's a new edition, different thing. So the editor won't have a problem with that. So clearly option A is the answer, which is again closest to the example which was given. Any doubts?
Sir, but in the in the E option, it is being edited by someone, whosoever he might be, but it is being edited, right?
Yeah. So,
And the point of view does not change. He is trying to make it more acceptable. And I mean, I'm assuming that Shakespeare and Thomas Bowdler are, they have some time gap, right? So, as in the passage, we know that over time, if something has to be changed, that is one of the most difficult situations for an editor. So, why not E in that case?
okay, so here we are, let us break it down. Shakespeare's work that has been edited by Thomas Bowdler. So I do not know who Thomas Bowdler is. Thomas Bowdler could be another author or he could be an editor. He cannot be anyone else. Correct? Now, if he is an author, that means he has interpreted Shakespeare's work and he's made those changes so that it is acceptable to families. So that means it's Thomas Bowdler's edition of Shakespeare's work. So the editor won't have a problem. If he's an editor himself, Thomas Bowdler, so he's doing the addition or the changes he's suggesting to Shakespeare to make it more acceptable to families. So that's not the most difficult decision. Let us go back to the last paragraph. It says the thorniest situation or the most difficult situation involves authorial revisions, wherein the author himself has made changes long after publication. And it substantiates with an example where it says Auden, in subsequent editions of his work, altered his own poems. So we are looking for an example where the author himself made those changes, which is in A. And you could have been confused in A and E. So E has been eliminated.
Yeah. Yeah, I missed the point where the author himself is going to make the change.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So let us move on to the second RC. Please take some time to go through it. And once you're done, just mention in the chat that you've done. Select everyone. Send to everyone. Just take a minute more, guys, and we'll move on to the questions. Okay, so I'm moving on to the questions. Okay, guys, the correct answer, got it from another field. So the correct answer is D. Let's read the question. The researcher believed that the DNA isolated by Woodward did not come from a dinosaur would most likely use which of the following discoveries as support. Okay, so we believe that DNA did not come from a dinosaur, which would use which of the following. So first option is damage to the dinosaur DNA causes the PCR technique to alter the original sequence. But we saw in the passage that scientists have said that this could be from a dinosaur. This has had no major effect. Comparison of the discovered DNA with that of modern DNA reveals a variation in sequence. Again, variation has had no consequence, so this cannot be said. Birds, dinosaurs, and reptiles have no phylogenetic relationship. This has no bearing of the DNA isolated by Woodward not being from a dinosaur. The cytochrome B sequence comprises DNA from several different animals. So this is the right answer. This has been mentioned in the paragraph as well. I think the last line, it says, researchers, however, question the identity of the DNA strands because the copies of the cytochrome B sequence varied considerably. They wonder whether the DNA comes from several organisms. So this has been rightly lifted word for word, and that is option B is the correct answer. I wouldn't even go to option E, but the option E says DNA cannot survive for such long periods of time, but in the first para that has been established that DNA can survive. Sorry, second para, 20 million, 135 million, dating back millions of years. So option E is not the right answer. Oh, someone else. Okay. Any doubts? I think everyone got this correct. Does anyone have any doubt? All right, so I'll move on to the next question. Okay, so a lot of you have started giving the answers. Yeah, the correct answer is option C. Almost all of you have got it correct. Let's read it. The passage suggests that researchers continue to look for dinosaur DNA because, Why are they still looking for dinosaur DNA? The answer is the DNA fragments produced by PCR were too insignificant to determine substantial information about bird, dinosaur, or reptile phenomena. Phylogeny. Again, this has been lifted word for word in the paragraph here. Where is it? Yeah, scientists had hoped to use the DNA to resolve debate about the relationship, but the fragments were too short to offer meaningful information, which is why they're still looking for the dinosaur DNA. So very easy. And anyone has any doubts over here? Do you want me to go through the other options? You can unmute yourself and let me know if you want to eliminate the other options. Ayush?
Sir, can you please tell the reason for elimination of option A and B?
Okay. So the question is that researchers are still looking for dinosaur DNA. Why? So the DNA found by Woodward derived from several different species. This has not been established. The option A is a hint that it might have come from several organisms, but they're not sure. They wanted to have the relationship, establish the relationship, which they were not able to, which is why they're still looking. But it has not been established that the DNA that Woodward found did not come from a dinosaur. In fact, it has been said that Utah State paleontologists believe that the fragments found by Woodward could definitely be dinosaur in origin, which is why option A is not correct. The option B says the amount of DNA retrieved was too small to copy using PCR. Again, this is probable. It was too small, which is why, but it does not establish that it was not from a dinosaur. It says that even though it was small, Woodward himself agreed that Woodward agreed on the variation. Sorry, the sample was small or short, but it did establish that it could definitely be dinosaur in origin. I'll go back to the same one, Utah State paleontologist. So, which is why option B has been eliminated. It does say somewhere, you read up above and below that, where it says that it was small.
In last paragraph.
Last para mein kahan pe hai? Can you read it?
Fifth lines, but the cytochrome fragments were too short to offer meaningful
phylogenetic information. Yeah. See, it says the fragments were too short to offer phylogenetic information. Phylogenetic information was needed for this, to establishing that relationship. So that is what is being discussed. See, subject यहाँ पर establish हुआ कि scientists had hoped to use the DNA to resolve the debate in the relationship. It continues with the word but links it to the previous sentence. So someone had asked initially when we started that how to solve parajumpers. So see, this is what the sequence is. You look for such words which links a sentence to the previous sentence. So you understand it will always be in between two lines, but not the start or the end. Correct? So it says, but the fragments were too short to offer meaningful phylogenetic information, which is related to birds, dinosaurs, and other reptiles for the relationship. So it doesn't say that it was not a dinosaur DNA, which is why it doesn't talk about anything like amount of DNA retrieved was too small to copy using PCR, because they did use PCR to copy it and create those sequences. Option C, we've read it out right now that the fragments were too insignificant to provide relationship between the bird, dinosaur, and reptile. And option D says the sites where Woodward excavated had never been highly populated with dinosaurs. Again, doesn't help us because that has not been stated in the passage, nor does it give scientists enough fodder to continue looking for dinosaur DNA. And option E, they were hoping that they might chance upon DNA of a different dinosaur. Again, nothing in the passage related to this, so option E is also eliminated. Moving on to question number 3. Okay, we started getting the answers. So the correct answer is option number C. Let us read the question. The findings of Woodward are by no means universally accepted. Okay. Which of the following findings, if true, would most contradict the researchers who question the identity of Woodward's dinosaur DNA? Okay. Will anyone explain what is this question? Anyone, come on.
We have to find something which is, if true, then will support the Woodward statements that the DNA was from the dinosaur.
Absolutely correct. So it is very confusing question because it's going back and forth. So it says which of the following findings, if true, would contradict the researchers, which researchers who question the identity of Woodward. So researchers are opposed to Woodward, and this statement has to contradict them. So it has to support Woodward. So we have to look for an option which supports Woodward's dinosaur DNA, identity of Woodward's dinosaur DNA. So option A is variation in the cytochrome B sequence of Woodward's DNA have been directly linked to hybrid DNA. Now this does not support the identity of a dinosaur. It supports some hybrid DNA. So this weakens Woodward's hypothesis or finding. Option B is carbon dating proves that the bone fragments retrieved by Woodward were from Cretaceous era. Again, doesn't support anything because only one has been, Cretaceous has been mentioned in the passage, that after 6 months of looking, Woodward pulled 2 bone fragments from a Cretaceous siltstone layer directly atop a coal seam. Doesn't support whether it was dinosaur or not, it just says it is an era. So option B doesn't support Woodward. Option C, more elaborate PCR traced the cytochrome B sequence in Woodward's sample to one species of dinosaur. Okay. So the PCR, or what was the full form of PCR? The polymerase chain reaction, which is done on the DNA. So the technique that said that the cytochrome B sequence pointed to one species of dinosaur, which supports Woodward's finding that it was a dinosaur DNA. So option C is correct. I do not need to go to option B or option E, but still I will read out. Utah's state paleontologists confirmed that dinosaurs were abundant in the areas where the researchers excavated. Again, doesn't support nor refute the findings. It is neutral, doesn't prove anything. So this is not correct because we have a better option in option C. Option E says an independent study reported that the DNA discovered by Woodward in fact belongs to him. So this in fact discredits Woodward's DNA. It supports the researchers who contradict or who question the identity of Woodward's DNA. So option E is not right. Option C is the correct answer. Anyone has any doubt? Okay, so I think no one has any doubts. So these were fairly easy RCs, and these should have helped you boost your confidence, and it would have helped you understand what RCs are. These RCs were a type of RC where you have to not just skim through the RC and look for the questions. The questions have keywords, the options have keywords. You can directly go to that area in the passage and make out your answers. Couple of questions did not even require us going back. Just the basic understanding would have helped. So these are RCs which are supposed to help you improve your score. So try to select such RCs which are easy to read, and the questions are also easy, pretty straightforward. I have stopped sharing my screen. I will go through the chats which you had sent me earlier. If anyone has any doubt, so you can unmute yourself and let me know. But when we had started, you guys had sent some questions. So let me go to it. Someone had asked how to get better with PJs. I think I explained it during the passage also. That look for keywords which link sentences to previous or later sentence. So they become like a sandwich. They come in between and they do not start or end the passage. So that's how you identify and look for sentences which are either the starting or the end of a passage, and then work your way upwards or backwards. Okay. So someone is saying that they could not convert CAT because of RCs. Now you do not really know it was because of RC or not. It could have been that you got them correct, you do not know. One way of knowing that is to give mocks, analyze it, understand what you are doing wrong, what you are doing right, because you might have got the correct option, but with an incorrect reasoning. So you need to understand the reasoning also. So in RCs, it's a three-way street. The author is saying something, you are interpreting something, and the question setter is interpreting something. You have to understand from the viewpoint of the question setter. To understand the psyche of the question setter, you just have his questions. So it is very important that you read the questions and the options very carefully, because from that you will get to understand what the question setter is trying to ask you. And you have to get into the mind of the question setter and not the author. So try to read the options and the question and understand what is going through his mind or what he's trying to say to you. Someone says that practice of critical reasoning is also important, and RCs included. Yeah, there are a lot of RCs which will ask you to critically read the passage and form an opinion on it. So definitely critical reasoning becomes important. But having said that, you can move on to such passages a little after mastering the easier ones, where you just have to look for the right answer. So first, I would say that work on these easy ones, because there will always be one such RC which will help you to improve your score. Once you've mastered that, move on to critical reasoning or inference based. Okay, someone has tried to connect with me on FB. Sorry, I did not see your message. I will check for that and answer you. How to go with assumptions question. Example is, sorry, I did not get this. Could you just have this conversation with me? What do you need to say?
Sir, I actually wanted to ask about the question which we did last. Like, if the option is considered to be true, then which of the following will be the, like the last question, Woodward's yeah, that in those questions I actually feel difficulty.
Okay. So I think we have discussed it. So you need to understand what the question setter is trying to ask. So we analyze the later part. If true, then what would support Woodward? We reduce the question to that. And then we read the options and we try to answer the question that if it is true, does it support Woodward? If it is true, does it support Woodward with each option? And that's how we answer. So you need to understand if true, whatever comes after that, what exactly is the question setter looking for. So here it was that he's looking for statements which support Woodward. So that's what you need to understand.
Yes.
So this is more of a keyword analysis where you understand the keywords. And here you have to, the entire sentence was important. You had to go through each word to understand what the author was trying to say. What the question setter was trying to say.
Yeah.
So read that very carefully, whatever follows is true, because that is your question.
Yes.
Okay, and this is something which is like not in the RC, as in these are hypothetical situations which will have supporting arguments in the RC itself.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we are good for today. I'll reiterate what I said last time, that there are two types of RCs majorly. First one is the one where you have to just look for answers directly. You do not require much understanding of the paragraph. You just have to look for keywords in the question and the options, and the answer will come to you by just skimming through the passage, looking for keywords. Both the RCs today were examples of that only. The second example, or the second type of RC, is where you have to understand the theme or form your own judgments or understand what the RC is trying, the underlying messages. And from there, you have to start answering the questions which have been posed. Like what can be inferred? What is the author trying to say? What is the underlying message? These types of questions. These are slightly more time consuming because you have to form your opinion. This is what's been said in the RC. So they takes a little more time, but usually such RCs have 4 questions. The ones which are easy will have 3 questions, usually. So the more time you're spending, you're answering one extra question. So it's a give and take. You do not tend to lose for putting more time in the second type of RC. So that also helps. But since it takes an understanding, I would suggest that you start with the easy ones right now, then gradually move on to the difficult ones. So start with those sectionals and do those RCs. One strategy that helped me was that I purchased an RC book, which was for GMAT preparation. I used to solve it, and from there were a lot of articles in that, a lot of RCs of different topics. So I developed reading critical RCs from there, and I was able to answer after practicing from there. So you can try it. If it works for you, well and good. If not, there are different methods. We will discuss them in the next session. Okay, someone has asked, what the frequency of RCs which you are posting on FB? Okay, yeah, so due to some problem, COVID is going on, our guys were not available, so we couldn't post RC. We're trying to post one RC every day, and we try to solve 2 RCs in this type of face-to-face discussion. So going forward, we will try to solve 4 RCs, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, but even we are stretched for some time. So please bear with us. You can post your doubts on the FB group itself or on the WhatsApp group. We'll try to answer it there also. So don't worry about it. Vishal, you are saying we should start with 2 RCs per day. Buddy, we will definitely keep that in mind, but many people find it very difficult to do even 1 RC. Yeah, on every day. So 2 RC would be a stretch. But you can always connect with me, Shubham, Prashant, anyone. We can send you RCs separately if needed. And you can also look for articles online, which will help you improve. So we are definitely posting 1 RC right now per day. If you are able to solve all 7 of them, well and good. If that is also less, we will start increasing the frequency. Okay, guys. So thank you for joining. Thank you for coming on a Sunday. And thank you for your time. I hope it was helpful. I hope to see you next Sunday.